Hey everybody, welcome back to Swing Trading. My name is Mike Fairborn, Senior Manager Trading Derivatives at Charles Schwab. Hope you're having a good day and a good day in the markets. Plenty to look at today, and I really wanted to take a look at looking and really setting up three different charts and going through those time frames very, very quickly with just a single click. So I wanted to go through each one of those with you. Excuse me. And what we'll do is we'll line up those three charts in a time frame that makes sense to us, where we verify different time frames, different price patterns that sit within them, to give us kind of a better feel of what is actually happening, not just with the daily chart, but what's also going on behind the scenes with that chart as we look inside that data a little bit. So to get more details on, potential breakout or a bull flag setup, for example. With that, welcome to each of you here. Good to have you on board. Jay Richardson, we've got Wacky Whack. We've got JV and Michael Riceberg. Welcome to you guys, Rojo, Kelly, and Will. Great to have you on board here, folks. I hope you're enjoying some of this nice weather we're getting. About 72 degrees we've had here for the last little bit. Off and on, though. Some sun, some clouds, but the clouds do make for better sunsets, if you know what I mean. So with that, though, also joining the chat by a good friend and colleague of mine, Connie Hill, great friend and a great colleague to work with. So any questions you might have, definitely throw those in the chat so we can help address those for you. I'll keep an eye on that chat box as well. Thank you, Connie, for having my back on that as well. So let's turn it over to some disclosures to get going here. Now, material here is intended for general information and education purposes only. Options carry a high level of risk. They're not suitable for all investors. Short options can be assigned at any time up to expiration, regardless of the ITM. That is the in-the-money amount. An ITM option has a higher risk of being assigned early. And you can see here too, a short put risks purchasing the underlying stock at the strike price when the market price of the stock will likely be lower. Paper money software application for education purposes only. And there's no guarantee that the execution of a stop order will be at or near the stock price. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, and dividends are not guaranteed. Finally, our futures disclosure slides, where we do look at futures here. We look at the charts, but we don't trade them. Futures and futures options trading involves substantial risks, not suitable for all investors. But once again, we do not trade those charts specifically. So with that, let's get rolling over here. And I am going to set up my charts. Here we go. Pull this up, and I just need to move it on to the next screen. There we go. All right. Moving into our discussion here. Well, what have we had? Well. We've seen a continuation since the last time we spoke, a continuation of that downward sloping trend. And we talked a little bit last week. Now, sometimes these will go like this. They'll round over, and sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll bounce back. But we're kind of waiting for here and watching is a little bit of price action to kind of bounce up a little bit here and give us some indication that there could be a bit of a follow through, because what we've seen right here, I'm just going to zoom right on into it. I mean, it's pretty clear we're up about a day or two, and then we dip. Day or two, we dip. Now, today we might rally, but on each one of these dips where we've been up a little bit, up a little bit, up a little bit, notice, folks, every single time we have then come back down and made a new low. And I mean, that's obvious from looking at this, but what we're looking for here in terms of the general market is a change in that dynamic. And many of these lows are made by these big red candles coming down. I mean, there's no exception right there as well, obviously. This was kind of a big red candle in and of itself. It's just the top part's missing because it was a gap down. We saw another big one here as well. Now, have we got that yet? No. And that, all else equal, on a very short-term basis, could be construed as a positive. Now, obviously, what happens tomorrow could play a key role in determining, is this going to come on down? But it's kind of seemed like if it's going to go down, it might happen fairly quickly, like even the next day. So what would be interesting and sort of unique is if we began to tick it up here and maybe take out a high, which, by the way, we have yet to do yet. We have not done that yet over this whole entire time frame, going all the way back to the end of, that's right, It's right there on the charts, folks. End of January of this year. That's a high. We didn't break above that high. Not there. No, 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 no. Could we start to get a little bit of this? And that might also be, it might coincide with some news out of the Middle East as well. Straits of Hormuz, something we probably hadn't heard a lot of. The Straits of Hormuz, we all know what we're talking about now. But yeah, maybe something like that could play a role. I talked about this last week in the markets and sectors class, keeping an eye on oil too. This is just my short market update. I try to do that with each one of these discussions here. But yeah, can we, are we making any progress holding below that big round number, also known as 100? I've heard people call it the century mark. It's a big number. We're below it right now. And that could call the shots for a lot of different things. So just keep an eye on that too. Okay, fine. I tapped into my futures charts. So we made use of our disclosures there, right? Okay, but yeah, it could play a key role, and we'll see what happens if we begin to stay below there. We might begin to stabilize in the market as well. And like I said again, it could coincide with a little bit of market-related information that's tied into, yeah, specifically, let's say the Straits of Hormuz. Okay. All right, and welcome to all of you just joining us now. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump in over here. Let's hit a couple of different stocks that we had some trades onto, just that we've reviewed. Now, some have gone down, some have gone up. But last week we talked about some of the companies out there that were low beta, and we built a low beta breakout, as you guys recall. Remember that? The low beta breakouts. Let's review this real quick first. This was sort of that longer term flag pattern, which we do play a lot in this class. I mean, in terms of just sample example trades, we do look at a lot. We look at a lot of flags because a lot of times they will mix into our swing trade time frame. We'll say something along the lines of, for example, you can come up here. That was actually a note that we could look at here for my next example stock, but 3 to 20 days. I mean, that's a really wide time frame for a swing trade. But yeah, that's generally it's like under a month. Some people will still do that within a month's time frame. I've seen that being referred to as a swing trade. But this is just kind of, I'll overlay it here. And notice the time frames that we're looking at here. About a month. This one's a little bit longer. Here's your pullback here. And here's maybe some of the follow through here. You can see the target up top. And we've got lined up here 100. Now, this is sort of steady as she goes right now because since I call it a she's been making some good headway. I mean, higher highs, higher lows through here, right? That's a pretty big portion of the move in here. You can see our target is simply just going to be this price range right over here, this price range up, right? And we're adding that to the upside to get our target over here. Again, this was built on those low beta breakouts. So stocks that have a lower beta, and energy's been running. You'll notice this too. What did we see last week with oil? Oil dipped, but actually many of these companies held up pretty well in those low beta breakouts. All right, and so this is one of those. We're still just waiting for our target. You'll notice what I did too at the 100, because I have seen this, you guys, over the years. I have. You get close to the 100% target, and I don't know, people start taking profits, or they might be doing the same thing. I don't know what's going on exactly, but it will go just below that target many times. It'll start to top right there. So you kind of have to be aware. That's why I just slipped in that the limit order right there, just below that target range. So it's just slightly below that. That's kind of a general theme that we do in this class, just because sometimes it won't exactly hit the target, but it can get close. Another quick note too, just while we're at it here, and I've got to go over here and I've got to type in simple moving average because, and actually I've got one here. We've talked about this many, many times. If prices are coming down, this is another way for us to also exit the trade if prices go back down below here. For example, what if we don't make it to our 100? And I've seen this plenty of times before as well. If we don't make it to our 100% target of the flag, and we start to break below this line and actually close below it, that could be another consideration. Now, one thing I do want to highlight too, while we're here, I'll zoom into. Oh, not like that. There we go. So here we go. So we got our stop order that we had put in place, and I'm going to do this too. Just to highlight this, I'm just going to drag this guy up and put it below the last low. And why am I doing that? To capture or to try to capture profits with that stop order. Okay. If I zoom out now, you might see it a little bit better. In fact, I'm just going to take this off. You know where the targets ranges are. There you go. I put it below here and I raise that stop from roughly where we got in at to this level because we began to progress in the trend. What I mean by that is we did make a higher low here and we did make a higher high today. Even if we close lower, it is still a higher high. And if we do that, we say, you know, we want to try to capture those gains. And I mean, the 10-day moving average is funny because it's like right on it as well. But that's also a way to kind of lock in those gains. Okay, so that one's still kind of steady as she goes right there. Now, these stocks that I have pulled up, these are over here in this simple, just a simple price channel breakout. We built these last week. Okay, and you'll notice that they're still climbing up. In fact, this gives us a signal that they're still hitting. We built this in class last week. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, but the reason why we chose that is we looked for really where the relative strength was out there, and then we were looking for new highs within that relative strength with low betas, less than the market. You'll see the majority of these will fall right into this guy. There's our DVN right there. Here's EOG. See, and remember when we talked about this last week, and I wanted to make sure I got this point across because I think it's so important. When we set up this class, okay, we were looking at it. This is for spotting the trend, and I'm talking real strength of the trend. And then, and only then, are we waiting for the pullback. Whether that was a short-term moving average or whether, and we talked about this in the class, it was a 2-day pullback, or whatever it is. This one was not a 2-day pullback. It was more like a 1-day, but it did bounce off our 10-period moving average and began to rally from that point higher. Okay, so this is just another example. I mean, I'm going to hit a couple more of these, like right here, for example. This is one, two, you know, the pullback. One that we also saw LY. This was not in that group, but you can see it right here. This was from last week. Here is your 2-day pullback. It rallied. There's another 2-3-day pullback. It rallied again. And that's really kind of been the theme of a lot of these companies here. So if you didn't get that, I wanted you guys to see it because these are continuing to run. Now that might continue on for a bit. We don't know for sure. Definitely give us a follow on Trader Talks because you can access all of our archive classes. And look what we've got right there for us. Connie Hill. Option trading strategies for big moves. Done yesterday. All right. Excellent. A quick note, well, I've got it right here. There is that class for the swing trading low beta breakouts. I'm just going to click on it right here. Here is that playlist if you guys want to check it out. But what I'll do is I'll just post this. Well, you know what? I'll just post the link here. If you want, it's just an easy way. If you wanted to get that, because these stocks continue to rally with the market going up a bit. So let me just, we'll see. You know, if that does continue, they have continued, I should say. We'll see if they continue going forward, but the trends look fairly strong. And oil's at such a high price, it's still kind of, there it is. I didn't want to, you know, no pun intended, but it's still kind of fueling these stocks higher too. And just generally high energy prices can do that. Even if you get fluctuations in energy, the prices are generally high, so it could have an impact there. But I'll just throw this in. If you want to take a look at it, we built that so you can have that there for you if you wanted to check it out. All right. And with that, let's hit another one that actually is in this list too. It did pop up, and we do have a trade on Dell that was a flag trade, flag pattern. Remember this trade? This is the one that came up through here, and this is really interesting too, because if you get that gap right there, it's kind of a rounded bottom. You guys remember this one, or saucer bottom? I've heard it called both, and then you get the handle right there, and we know that's like a flag. And that was interesting too, because sometimes in some of the stronger flag patterns will actually do this. They'll come up and they will rest upon the prior high. You see it? Prior high right there. that was kind of the genesis of this trade. Not to mention the longer term trend, and it's tended to follow through. And wow, we're getting close to our target today. So this one is still in check. I've just put the dotted lines in here to show you the length of the move off the bottom. I'm just referencing this move and this move, but we might be very, very close to it right there. So what do you guys think? Do we take the trade or not? We're so close to it. I'll tell you what, if we begin to back off, I'll just take it off. But this is one that was one we looked at in terms of the flag. And you know, I don't think this was a low beta. It's one. It was low. I think it might have been lower at the time. It actually matches the market exactly. The other ones in that list are low beta breakouts for sure. Those are energy related, and many of those are half the market volatility that we focused in on. So just check that out if you're interested. By the way, what do we have? Inverse head and shoulders pattern, says Rams. Let me highlight that right there, because you know what? That's actually quite common too. And that's a good catch, because you will see these off of the rounded bottom down here. What you're going to see is this. This is our low. You're going to see something like a shoulder, head, shoulder, maybe a double shoulder, but you're getting it. Yeah. And what does that really represent? You know what it represents? A change in the underlying trend. And that's the bottom pattern too. And you know, it's kind of, in this sense, it is like a saucer. But anyways, this is one too that did rally quite fast. I don't know if you guys were participating in this paper money stock or not, but we're right there. You know what? Should I just take it? Just go like this. Forget it. It's done. Do I really want to be talking about this trade next week as it's down here? I don't. No, I'm kidding. We would try to get out ahead of time anyways, but there you go. That's just close enough. I mean, there's an example of that trade right there. Okay. So let's do this. This kind of a sort of a pattern, as we look at our other trades too, this is a little bit of a bull flag. And by the way, is it does also have in there a little bit of the head and shoulders pattern. Exactly, Kelly. Well, we just took I have to say it, we took the money, we took the paper money. There you go. But there you go. See that shoulder, head, shoulder? These are interesting because they can be the genesis, the beginnings of that inverted head and shoulders pattern right there. Now, is there something you might want to wait on here? This is a low beta breakout too, or getting close to a possible breakout, but you could already start to see a little bit of these, you know, smaller flags coming in, bouncing off the 10 period right in that range over there. It could still be developing because we actually haven't taken out, have we yet? We haven't taken out in a meaningful way that high just yet. So if we broke out, kind of paused, that could be interesting. Keep an eye on it. All right, so that's just one I throw out there too. The other trade, we did this in the markets and sectors class on Friday. This is actually going to take this example trade, which was not done in this class. This is going to take us actually into our discussion today, looking at 3 charts, getting comparisons and more insight from the possibility of a breakout. Now, we did take this trade in the markets and sectors class, but one of the things we stated here, and this was a measured move, there's really not like a flag pattern or anything here, but there was a sideways range. This fit into the low betas, and it was kind of a theme for last week, but hey, I mean, oil's running, so we stuck with that theme. Do you see the measured move there? I've got them. Yeah, so you can see the blue measuring the range from the high to the low. The dotted range just represents our target to the upside. And what does happen pretty frequently is, look at that, 125. Oh, geez, look at that. We have a high right there. And so a lot of times, if you'll note, the markets can be interesting, and they can be very, very, in a sense, they can be insightful. They give a lot of information, but you got to be able to see it. Seeing it is really, really, I mean, if you don't see it, it's not there. But that would be like an MM, a measured move. And this is your MM projection up top, right to the high. And by the way, this is very close to this high as well, too. Okay. But this was, and this, by the way, was a play on, energy, and this was the nat gas company in the U.S., Independent Nat Gas. Now, nat gas can kind of lag a little bit. We'll see This was one of those two that's been stuck in that TTM channel for a little bit too. Is showing some signs of a little bit of strength, but we nothing yet. We put the trade on because we're just saying, hey, we're anticipating the breakout. That's what we looked at on this trade. So, having said that, let's talk about three charts to spot this trade and really see if we're getting sort of something developing here behind the scenes. So let's do it. Now, you guys have seen me draw this up top here, but on the daily chart, when this guy was moving, and it was moving daily today too, it was just a big green candle sticking up here right to this range. Didn't break through. In fact, it gave us a little bit of a shooting star. And I was talking about, or just chatting with Will about this earlier, just talking about how interesting it is to kind of break down what's going on behind the scenes. And it actually happened to be, he called it because it was actually the discussion today that we were talking about. But I want to break this down more clearly for you over different time frames. Notice over here too, the money flow has been kind of trending up as we've been in that sideways channel. Interesting. Daily 35. Let's just highlight it. You can't see it's kind of small right there. Whatever. And by the way, we're just looking at different time frames. I've seen people use various time frames, and they can all kind of resonate with you wherever you're at. Say, for example, if we look at different time frames, multiple time frames here to try to get an idea or get an additional expectation of a potential move going higher, some would go, daily, 60-minute, 15-minute. Very, very common as well. I just happen to be choosing this one. We can use whatever. This is very, very common. In fact, this is maybe even a different, not so much of a big breakdown from a daily chart, and then this one goes here. But notice I've just rotated it, whatever you want. Some people even use 1-minute charts. A little too fast for what I see. There's a lot of chaos in a 1-minute chart, but some do actually trade that. It's a different kind of a trade, but let's progress into now the 30-minute chart. Okay, so there was your move over here. What are we seeing? I'm going to zoom in on it now, 30-minute wise. Well, a couple of things. And if we just step back and say, all right, everybody, this now, we looked at the daily, but now we're looking at this since we're all so used to it. This is your new daily chart. Just park that in your mind if that helps. It is shorter term. I've zoomed in to make it kind of look like a daily chart. Do you see anything happening over here on a short-term basis? Very difficult to see on a daily chart. Let me highlight a few things. I mean, you are getting sort of a move to the upside here, even a short term. And this is going back, what do I have here? 30 days, about a month, but I've zoomed into maybe the last 2 weeks. This is, for example, all the way back over here, maybe a 2-week time frame here, but you can see still that development. Now, as I look at this, there might be another pattern showing up here, and by golly, we would have never seen this, but there is a little bit of a head, shoulder developing here. Inverted head and shoulders pattern too. Sort of looking like a little bit of a cup and handle. Now we realize that there is, and I've marked it here, this is the top of the measured move. A little bit of resistance coming in there. And that resistance came in. Look at this. I mean, it actually hit the resistance. And that was already in place, which is fascinating. We hit it and we bounced off. We weren't quite ready yet. Now, we don't know if we'll tackle it yet, but things could be brewing, and we know energy's been up, and we'll see what's happening. Okay, Kelly hit it. Flag. Yes. Oh, Bollinger's are squeezing, Scott. Yeah. And by the way, is this not in a TTM? If you could check that, Scott, or somebody, it may in fact be in a TTM as well. It may in fact be there. Yes, exactly, McKinsey. That's right. Okay, so let's do this. We'll jump over here, and let's go over here. Just a quick note that she mentioned there. Good Miner Strategies pinned discipline for sure. Yeah, you got to be disciplined. In fact, I'd agree with that. I'm buying that for sure. Yeah, disciplined, being willing to look at different time frames, etc. But let's do one more. Let's go ahead and just go to the 5 because we're looking at 3, and Kelly said flag. Oh, I think I can see the flag now, pretty clear. Again, I'm going to zoom in. By the way, I can see the head and shoulders too. Just say in your mind, this is our daily chart. If it's helpful, I've done that. There's our shoulder, head, shoulder pretty clear. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a pretty long, I mean, pretty clear flag. I mean, in terms of the move. So based upon what we talked about with the flag, we might already have a sense here that this could be a timing element to kind of get us going. In terms of a possible move, break, wouldn't that be somewhat of well, it could be an early start of a flag right there. But the fascinating thing is we're right there. We're in that 5-minute time frame. 5-minute time frame. Okay. And we're seeing some of the kind of price patterns, not to mention trends, higher high, higher low, that we might otherwise have missed. I mean, I'm not seeing this at all. If I just do a couple clicks back, and that's as simple as it gets. I mean, just click, click. I'm not seeing any flag in there. I'm seeing a shooting star that could be very negative, perhaps. We don't know. Earlier today, Will was looking at a hangman versus a hammer and things like that. But even on something like that, Will, and everybody else, we can zoom in and see exactly what that hammer or that hangman looks like and say, oh, does it look kind of bullish? Are we maybe setting up here? Is there a general theme that might also be there in terms of like energy and something that hasn't really moved yet? Yeah, there could be. Okay, and Wiley's got a little note down there as well for us. Those scripts, yeah, just a quick note. Scripts aren't guaranteed for time and accuracy, but since I mentioned it, he's posted it there. Cool, I'll have to check that out. All right, and then here's that target to the upside. Now, what you did see is there was a little note that came up, little notification that said, if you are over a certain range, and what I'd had in here, actually, I just said, hey, if I start to really break out and extend above here, that could be an early indication. And I'm looking at a 5-minute chart. So that could be very, very fascinating in terms of sort of a general kind of a setup that you're getting on a very minute time frame. But what are we waiting for? Well, maybe we're just waiting for the daily trend to move. But we've narrowed that down just with a few clicks. All right. All right, so that's that, and that's on an example trade already. And by the way, people that are looking this, let's say they just want to practice this on a paper money trade, it has yet to take out that measured move. But some would say, yeah, your 30 or 5 could help you kind of see something like that. Okay, let's do this. This one too, we've already got a trade in on this, so I put it in, and you can see the stop level, which I would raise if we were to make higher highs and higher lows over here, a meaningful higher high and higher low. But I put us down a little bit, and we are a ways from our entry point in order to put that in anyways. So look at this. So there are a couple of other sort of similar, oh, not that, MGM, that are also kind of like this. And I've noticed that some of these gaming sort of casino stocks are also interesting. You'll notice over here too, we just talked about this on a 30-minute chart, but look at this. See the trend? Now that's referred to as a right-angled triangle. If I'd have drawn that straight up top, but there you get the general idea there. And basically that right angle is showing us that we have been making higher highs and higher lows. And where here, if you guys were to say, I mean, where might you be looking for the possibility of a breakout? If you were just to throw out to me a number, what number would that be? Where might the apex of that triangle be getting very, very close to? The hint is really the line up top where you might be going there. Yeah, it might be somewhere along that, this line up top here. I mean, do you see where we struggled to get through? So this could be kind of a fascinating area too. It's kind of been building. Exactly. Yeah, 38. That's where we're headed. Yep. Okay. 30-minute chart. Are we seeing development here or not? Are we seeing weaker signs, or are we seeing maybe some strength coming in? Well, I'm seeing a high being made right here, which is hard to make out on the daily. We'd never see the pattern on the daily at all. And that too is a little bit of a flag type pattern here. Now, one of the things we're waiting for on a flag type pattern is we could always go in and say something like this, that is a close above the high of the low day would have been happening right there. But remember, it's a 30-minute chart. So maybe you want to give it just a little bit more room. It could still fit into the daily, but I'm just going to draw a line right there. Look at this. Draw a line right there. Okay, if it starts to take that out or this out, is that not a breakout? Question mark. We'll have to wait and see how it follows through, but it could be a breakout short term. And this would show up on the daily, but we're also seeing it 30-minute, 5-minute now. Now you can really start to see it. Is one thing I really couldn't pick up on the 30. I'll just say this right now, is this is a little bit higher than this, still kind of developing. If you just sit there and hold here, I mean, yeah, is there the possibility? Yeah, I mean, there could be. I mean, it could start to move because we're basing this on what we're seeing in the daily. This was, like I said, this was not so much a measured move like we saw like on a horizontal basis, but more of a measured move through a triangle. You know how we would do that? What's the triangle move? Well, you basically take from the the right angle. If we're looking at a measured range here, the greatest distance right here in this range, I'm just going to go this vertically. I'm going to right click. We'll just activate it and pull it over. Easier to do. But if you break out, I mean, that would be like a minimum retracement. Remember, this is a daily chart. So you're getting up close to 44. That might just be like the minimum. Now, does it have to do that even? No, but that's the way we look at price patterns, is we have like minimum retracement levels. Now, there could easily be something similar to this if, I don't know, if it does unfold, but nothing in terms of April, I should say, in earnings. Well, I'm sorry, there is right towards the end of April to be mindful of there. So you can see that we don't quite have it here, but one that I'm going to track in this class, I'm going to track that with an alert here too. Right click, try to take advantage of some of the, I'll just say breakout question mark. We'll put this in at or above. But one of the, you could say, features we have on this platform is we can create alerts. And just a quick note on those alerts too, alerts aren't guaranteed to be delivered or delivered at any specific speed or time frame, and should not be used as a replacement for actively being aware of your actual position. I haven't had any issues with it, but I did want to state that they just don't guarantee them, that they will trigger. But yeah, like I said, might have come through, but anything can happen, in crazy market conditions. So just a quick note there, but then that will notify me for this particular class. Now, another one that is similar before we get on into some other trades here is Network Appliance. Now, I'm sorry, now known as NetApp. I called it Network Appliance for years, but they did change the name. Now, we're just starting to see some strength here off the bottom. This is a bottom trade. The other one was closer to a top trade. It's okay to vary it a little bit. The other one was like this. It was sort of a right angled triangle, more towards the top. This is obviously more towards the bottom. People do vary tops and bottoms in terms of what you prefer here in terms of that trade. But yeah, I mean, some look at lower values here. Some are looking for maybe more momentum on the top. But you can see over here, we're kind of getting close to that range where we're starting to see some strength over here too. So could this also be seen as a possible scenario setup? We're not getting it quite yet, but I'm still going to put an alert over here and just notify me. And we can check this too for our review as we follow up next week. All right. Okay. Now one of the stocks that I did pull up, this was a trade on Apple. Apple is a slightly higher low over here too. I just want to throw out here one more bottom type trade. We went through a sideways channel. As a matter of fact, I did put this one out in the, I sent this out to you guys yesterday just as a X post here. There we go. Oh, that's as slow as I go. Sorry about that. Yeah, there we go. So that's the X post right there. But you can see that we are touching on Apple, the 200-day moving average right there. It's also that lower channel, 1, 2, 3. And then on top of that, we've got this potential breakout here. And I just said, well, those prices extend above that 260 level. So that's one to kind of be mindful of as well. If you guys wanted to check that out, definitely give Connie a follow on X. There's just this particular one. You can follow me on X, Mike Fairborn CS, Connie Hill CS. All right. But that is sort of one that is, we did close above the high, the low day on, well, yesterday. But, if you break this down, you see the head and shoulder? This is one I was actually wanting to show. We got kind of like a double head down there, and there's another shoulder over here. But what is the breakout on the head and shoulder, folks? What is it? The breakout would be right above this range, technically, right? And you can get many longer term moves that start with that shoulder, head, shoulder, inverted or head and shoulder bottom, whatever you want to call it right there. That happens to be bam, 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 and bam again. Yeah, those are resistance levels. R, double R, 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 R. Is it coiling up for the possibility to move? Again, this is Apple. AAPL. It's been down for a little bit. It's been one of those that's been keeping the Magnificent Seven from being magnificent, actually, because it's been down, right? Just to use that phrase. I mean, it's been down, but it might be starting to finally get some traction off that longer term support. How many times have we bounced off that one? Bounce, bounce, and bounce, question mark? Will we finally begin to break through and resonate higher? It remains to be seen. Okay, you read my mind. What am I looking at? We haven't got the trade in yet, but I do want to see it for this class. And by the way, as I set up another breakout here for us, we're very close on these. I'd rather just get the breakout given current market conditions than to put the trade on right now. We'll have one to put the trade on here in just a second, but look at this. So that's a breakout potential. And by the way, when I set those alerts up, always remember to go down here. Just make sure that you got the notify on your mobile. I mean, or email, right? You got the email, but I'd use the mobile, and you can do that in setup, application settings, and then notifications to get that rolling there for you. Okay. All right. Now, let's look at, here's a bull flag possibility on Netflix. Now, it's been off the bottom, and we have yet to make a higher low yet. So we're still kind of waiting here. Sure looks like a bull flag, but the trend hasn't changed yet, and that can masquerade itself, give us the bear flag imposter, right? Because we're still going down. It could be a bear flag or a bull flag, and you might start to see it break above that 10 period with some adjoining volume. Just thought I'd throw it out. I found it as I was looking at some of our examples today. Now here's BG as well. BG is actually breaking above the high of the low bar right now. This is getting back into our low beta trade, low beta breakouts. And you can see us just creeping above this level right here. Okay? TMUS. T-Mobile. Kind of similar. The one interesting thing we've got over in Netflix here, we've got a big earnings announcement that made actually a higher low right there. And then we got a higher high. We broke above this range, and now the possibility of a higher low here. Now, when I say T-Mobile, we're actually getting some of these companies in the same group breaking out. AT&T, or okay, there's your shooting star. Take a look at it short term, right? The other big one, I guess one of the major threes, Verizon came very close to breaking out. T-Mobile is one that's off the bottom a little bit. What do you guys think about T-Mobile? It's kind of like, maybe we want to give it a little bit of room. If you come over here and look at this, just to kind of start a position, that's 423. That means that we could still trade this through April without getting hit on an April situation if we were selling a put, for example. Instead of just jumping in right now, given current market conditions, and also with the VIX being high, we can get all else equal, there's just more volatility and maybe more bang for our buck, all else equal, that is. Maybe we could look to sell something. Let's just see what these are looking like, these options down here on a short put or a short put vertical, maybe just a short put for this one. We can take a look at. Here are our Aprils. Oh gosh, the spreads are wide though, aren't they? A little bit wide. That's 80 cents. 80-cent spreads. Forget it. Okay, maybe you just wait to see if we get a breakout. I did have a couple though, just to kind of show you, because I did want to put a short put vertical trade on today. Now take a look at this one, TRV. These guys have the same problem that T-Mobile does in terms of liquidity. Now, if I draw this line through here, we are resting right there. It looks almost like a flag right there. I mean, in fact, I would say, it's flag-ish right there, resting on prior highs and actually prior lows, prior lows. The interesting thing with this is we do have an issue over here too with the spreads. They're a little bit wide. That could be more seen. Yeah, this is about 500,000 shares today. Sometimes that makes it difficult. Let's look at a couple though that don't have this issue. NVIDIA. NVIDIA for the possibility of a spread trade. Now, what I'm going to show you here is we're going to go intraday, intraday. There's your 5-minute. Do you see what I spotted over here? There's a little bit of that head and shoulder going on right through here. But we broke out, and the one thing that we've been doing consistently is sort of breaking down. Right now, we're sort of flat. And NVIDIA has been flat for a long time. Remember, if we're selling a put or a bull put spread, prices can go up, sideways, or down to a degree, and traders can still make their max gain without speculating that we're going to bounce off the bottom and just break out. We could maybe sell a little bit lower and try to capture that premium in a high VIX or a higher VIX environment. Let's go over here and just slip this trade in real quick because I realize we are almost out of time here. It took me a little bit longer than I thought to get through all that, but here we go. Notice the spreads over here. Oh, much, much nicer, right? Nice spreads in terms of, I mean, my gosh, look at that. Just a few cents. 5 cents, 5 cents, 4 cents. Incredible. What are these deltas? We oftentimes will go down to these lower deltas, 18. Remember, a delta just means it's measured as a 1% increase on the underlying stock. If you get a 1% increase, this range should move down by about 18 cents. But also, the theta moves down 10 cents a day because there's only 24 days left. If I clicked on that 160 right there, boom. Let's just look at this real quick. This is about $1,900 to generate. I'm sorry. This is the buying power effect. I said that wrong. I'm sorry. The buying power effect is here. The credit is 198. The max loss, now this would occur if we were assigned shares of stock because it went below and then the stock went to 0. You'd have to say clearly a low probability that NVIDIA is going to go bankrupt, but we have to show it because it does assume purchase of the stock price, right? But look over here with me. So you're looking at this. Now, could we just adjust this because the spreads are so tight through there? Sure, I'm going to go a 5 wide. I'm going to buy this one, 68. If I did a couple more, look at this. So if I did a couple more contracts, a couple more. Now we're up even above our level in terms of a credit, 204. Buying power effect is less than, and so too, importantly, it is our max loss. Folks, we're giving us a range for the price to move in this extra sort of volatile environment. Does everybody see that? 160. So technically, what a trader would look for is he'd say, I'm giving myself this range all the way down here by that expiration. If we can hold above this level, all else equal, that's what they might be assuming, they would try to exit that trade. Anyways, folks, that's what I had for you today. We are out of time. I just took a look down below. It's been great going through this with you, but hopefully we built some insight into 3 charts. Click, 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 just quickly, and just seeing that trend, confirming that trend, the patterns, so you can start to look in there and get more insight with that shorter time frame. Okay, everybody, it's great to be with you. Thank you so much, Connie, as always. Folks, if you got value out of this presentation, smash that like button. Lets me know you found it useful and informative. Thanks to our production team as well. Everybody have a great rest of the day. See you next time.